Sophia Bennett had just landed after months of studying abroad, excited for a well-earned vacation. She had booked a stay at the Monarch Grand, a five-star luxury hotel known for its exclusivity. But when she arrived, the hotel staff didn't see a guest. They saw someone who didn't belong. The hotel manager, Jenna Whitmore, didn't bother checking properly. She dismissed Sophia's reservation, stalled, humiliated her, and then called security to remove her. Sophia? She stayed silent, until the hotel doors burst open. A woman in a deep crimson power suit walked in, her posture lethal, her presence overwhelming. Because this wasn't just any woman. This was Naomi Bennett. And the moment she spoke, Jenna knew she had just made the biggest mistake of her life. Sophia Bennett stepped out of her car, her fingers gripping the handle of her designer suitcase as she took in the grand entrance of the Monarch Grand, a five-star luxury landmark, a place that had hosted royalty, celebrities, and world leaders, and a place she had grown up hearing about, because her mother, Naomi Bennett, was one of the most powerful names in hospitality. But today, Sophia wasn't walking in as Naomi Bennett's daughter. She wasn't flashing her last name for special treatment. She was here as a guest, just like anyone else. Or so she thought. The moment she stepped inside, she felt the shift in energy. The whispers, the subtle glances, the way the doorman hesitated for just a second too long before opening the door. The way the bellhop looked at her, then turned away without offering to assist with her luggage. Sophia straightened her posture. She had been here before. Not at this hotel, but in this moment. A space where she was supposed to belong, but instead was treated like she had wandered in by accident. She exhaled slowly, forcing the tension from her shoulders. She wasn't going to assume the worst. Not yet. She walked up to the front desk. Behind it stood Jenna Whitmore, a crisp navy blue uniform fitting her frame perfectly. She was mid-conversation with another guest, laughing, smiling, radiating the warmth and attentiveness the Monarch Grand was famous for. Then, Jenna's eyes flicked over to Sophia, and everything changed. The laughter died. The smile faded. She straightened, her fingers still hovering over the keyboard, her eyes now cool and assessing. Sophia gave her a polite but firm smile. "Good evening. I have a reservation under Sophia Bennett." Jenna hesitated, a single moment too long. Then, without even checking the system, she replied, "Are you sure? I don't see a reservation under that name." Sophia felt the familiar sting of frustration, but she remained composed. She pulled out her phone, swiftly opening the confirmation email. "It's right here. Would you like to see it?" Jenna glanced at the screen, but not really. She didn't actually read the email. Instead, she let out a slow, exaggerated sigh, then tapped her keyboard in a way that felt far too casual. After a few seconds of fake searching, she looked up with feigned sympathy. "Sometimes our system takes a while to update. Why don't you take a seat in the lobby while I look into it?" Sophia didn't move. She recognized this tactic. The intentional delay, the passive dismissal, the silent expectation that she would give up and walk away. But she didn't. Instead, she kept her voice steady. "How long will that take?" Jenna's smile sharpened, though it barely reached her eyes. "Hard to say. Might take a while." Sophia inhaled deeply, holding back the urge to challenge her outright. She could have told her who she was. She could have demanded she check again. She could have called her mother, but she didn't, because she wanted to see how far Jenna was willing to go. So, she simply nodded. "I'll wait." And with that, she walked to the lobby. She sat. She waited. 5 minutes. 10. 30. An hour. People came and went, checking in within moments. Sophia remained seated, ignored, dismissed, erased from their consciousness like she didn't exist. She gripped the handle of her suitcase tighter, her pulse steady but simmering beneath her skin. She had waited long enough. It was time to see exactly what was going on. And what Jenna Whitmore didn't know? She had just made a very, very big mistake. Sophia sat still, her hands resting on her suitcase handle, her back straight, but her patience was running out. From her seat in the lobby, she had watched it happen, again and again. Every other guest that approached the desk was greeted with smiles and warmth. Each one was checked in within seconds, handed their keycards, and escorted toward the elevators. No delays, no confusion, no system issues, just effortless, seamless service. For them, not for her. The staff pretended not to notice her. The waiters circled past her seat, offering champagne and refreshments to others, but never stopping for her. The bellboys glanced at her luggage, then looked away as if it wasn't there. As if she wasn't there. A slow, simmering anger stirred in Sophia's chest, but she kept her face calm. She had been in this position before. She had spent years learning when to speak, when to push, and when to let people reveal their true selves. Jenna Whitmore had revealed enough. Sophia stood. Her heels clicked against the marble floor, steady and controlled. She made her way to the front desk, stopping in front of Jenna, whose fingers were still typing. Too leisurely, too fake. Jenna didn't even look up this time. Sophia spoke, her voice clear, unwavering. "I've waited long enough." She leaned forward slightly, lowering her voice just enough to make Jenna meet her eyes. "Check my reservation, now." A flicker of irritation crossed Jenna's face. She exhaled sharply, her fingers stopping mid-keystroke. Then, without even checking the screen, she tilted her chin and did something unbelievable. She gestured toward security. A uniformed man, broad-shouldered and serious-faced, stepped forward immediately. Sophia's entire body tensed. She knew what was coming. And then, the accusation. "Sir," Jenna called, her voice deliberately loud so that nearby guests could hear. She tilted her head slightly, as if giving a warning. "We had a report of a missing wallet earlier today." The air shifted. People nearby stopped talking. Eyes flicked toward her. Jenna's voice was sweet, measured, professional. But the words landed like a slap. "And you've been loitering in the lobby, making guests uncomfortable." A stunned silence followed. Sophia froze. Not because she was shocked, but because she had seen this exact scenario play out before. A situation twisted, a problem manufactured, a target chosen. And this time, the target was her. Sophia lifted her chin slightly, staring Jenna down. "You're saying I've been loitering?" she asked, her tone even. Jenna didn't flinch. She nodded, feigning sympathy. "We just have to be careful, you understand. It's for the safety of our guests." The security guard moved closer, positioning himself at Sophia's side. He wasn't rough, yet. But the message was clear. This was an order, and she was supposed to leave. Sophia felt the blood pounding in her ears, but she forced herself to stay calm, because Jenna Whitmore had just made a very, very big mistake, and she was about to find out exactly how big. Because at that exact moment, the entrance doors burst open. The sharp, unmistakable click of stiletto heels against marble echoed through the entire lobby. The air shifted so suddenly it was almost physical. A wave of authority that rolled through the room. A woman strode inside. She wasn't just entering the space. She was commanding it. Draped in a sleek, deep red power suit, she walked with a lethal, deliberate grace. The kind that made people sit straighter, hold their breath. She didn't ask for attention. She demanded it. Her presence was a force. One that made the waiters, the bellboys, the security guard, all hesitate. Even Jenna Whitmore's posture stiffened, her fingers curling slightly against the desk, because she knew. Everyone in that room knew. Naomi Bennett had arrived, and from the cold, razor-sharp look in her eyes, hell was about to break loose. For a moment, no one moves. No one breathes. The only sound in the room is the steady, deliberate click of Naomi Bennett's heels as she walks toward them. Each step strikes the marble floor like a judge's gavel. Click, click, click. Her tailored, deep red suit fits her like armor. Elegant, sharp, untouchable. Her face? Unshaken, unreadable. But her eyes, they are dangerous. They lock onto Jenna Whitmore with a force that makes the hotel manager's throat go dry. Naomi doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't have to. She stops inches away from the front desk, where Jenna still stands frozen, and says, "Let her go." The words aren't loud. They don't need to be. Because in that moment, they hold more weight than 1,000 threats. The security guards react immediately. The one gripping Sophia's shoulder steps back so fast, it's like he just touched a live wire. The other? His hands instantly drop to his sides, his stance shifting from aggressive to apologetic. They're not stupid. They know exactly who Naomi Bennett is, and they know they just made the worst mistake of their careers. Jenna, however, is still frozen. Her face is pale. Her lips part slightly but no words come out. Because she knows too. She knows exactly who she just tried to humiliate. Exactly whose daughter she just accused of being a criminal. And exactly how doomed she is. Naomi tilts her head slightly, watching the panic spread across Jenna's face like a slow burning fire. "Would you like to explain?" she asks, her voice still calm, but cutting through the silence like a blade. Why you just tried to throw out my daughter? The room hangs in unbearable tension. Jenna blinks rapidly, her hands trembling slightly as she tries to scramble for a response. I didn't. Her voice breaks. She swallows hard, forcing herself to speak again. I wasn't aware she was your daughter. Naomi's eyes narrow. Oh. Her tone is still smooth, controlled, but the power behind it? Deadly. So you mean to tell me, Naomi continues, taking one slow, measured step closer, that if Sophia wasn't my daughter, you would have been perfectly fine throwing her out? Jenna's breathing is shallow now. She glances around, as if looking for someone, anyone, to save her. But no one speaks. No one dares intervene. Because this isn't a negotiation. It's a reckoning. And Naomi is in complete control. Jenna tries again, her voice barely above a whisper. It was a misunderstanding, a security protocol issue. Naomi lets out a soft, humorless chuckle. Then, she leans in just slightly, lowering her voice. Let me tell you what I think happened. Jenna swallows hard. You saw a young black woman walk into this hotel, Naomi says smoothly. And instead of doing your job, her gaze flicks down to Jenna's name tag. Miss Whitmore, you made an assumption. Jenna visibly flinches. The weight of every watching eye in the lobby is now pressing down on her. You assumed she didn't belong, Naomi continues, never breaking eye contact. You assumed she was a problem, a threat, a mistake in a place like this. Jenna tries to shake her head, but Naomi cuts her off. And instead of correcting yourself, Naomi's voice drops lower, so low that only Jenna can hear the next words. You doubled down. Jenna's hands are clenching the desk now, her knuckles white. And then, Naomi straightens, lifting her chin. You did the worst thing you could have possibly done. The silence is deafening. The entire hotel lobby holds its breath. Naomi lets the pause stretch, twist, coil. And then, she delivers the final blow. You called security. Her voice is still soft, but it feels like a gunshot. On the owner's daughter. Jenna's entire face crumbles. Her mouth opens. But Naomi has already turned away. Because this conversation is over. Naomi takes one step forward. The entire room feels colder. The soft hum of the hotel lobby, the whispers, the quiet clicking of keyboards, the distant ringing of a concierge's phone, vanishes. Because every single person is watching. Jenna Whitmore stands rigid behind the desk. Her hands tremble against the polished wood. Her entire body screams tension. Her mouth opens. But Naomi Bennett speaks first. And when she does, her voice slices through the silence like a blade. Check the VIP database. Jenna's breath catches. Her fingers twitch. She doesn't move. Her pulse thunders in her ears. Jenna stammers, her throat tight. That won't be necessary. Now. Naomi doesn't shout. She doesn't need to. The weight of the command crushes the air from the room. Jenna freezes. Her heels scrape against the floor as she forces herself to turn toward the computer. She starts typing, each keystroke louder than the last. The system refreshes. And then, there it is. Sophia Bennett. Penthouse suite. Paid in advance. Confirmed. A gasp ripples through the staff standing behind the counter. A murmur spreads through the watching guests. Jenna stares at the screen. Her fingers hover over the keyboard. Her face drains of color. The truth is staring back at her. The proof that she had lied. That she had tried to erase someone who was supposed to be here. Someone who belonged. Jenna's hands shake. Her heart pounds. This wasn't supposed to happen. She had been so sure. And now, she feels every single pair of eyes burning into her. Judging. Watching her downfall unfold in real time. Naomi watches Jenna's breath hitch. Her voice, when it comes, is quiet. Controlled. Measured. But deadly. You knew my daughter's name. Jenna flinches. Naomi takes another step forward. You knew exactly who she was. Jenna's lips part. But she has no words. And yet, you chose to erase her. Jenna scrambles for an excuse. I didn't mean... Save it. Naomi cuts her off. A final, effortless dismissal. Jenna chokes on her words. There is nothing left to say. She knows it. The staff knows it. The entire room knows it. Naomi inhales slowly, tilts her chin up, and delivers the final blow. You have 10 minutes to clear out your office. Jenna's body jerks back. Her face crumples. The humiliation. It's too much. Her career, her status, her authority. Destroyed in seconds. Jenna stumbles. Her fingers grip the counter like she's trying to hold on to something. But there's nothing left. Nothing to save her. Her face twists in one last desperate attempt at dignity, but it's useless. The entire lobby watches as she turns, stiff-legged, and walks away. And just like that, Jenna Whitmore, the woman who thought she held all the power, is gone. Naomi Bennett doesn't move for a moment. She watches Jenna disappear down the hall, shoulders hunched, face pale. The weight of her humiliation follows her like a shadow. The lobby is silent. Every staff member, every manager, every guest, watching. The air is thick, charged, waiting. Then, Naomi turns, and the moment she does, the entire staff stiffens. Security, front desk clerks, bellboys, managers, because they know. Jenna was just the beginning. Now Naomi isn't speaking to just one person, she is speaking to all of them. Her voice is sharp, steady, absolute. This isn't just about my daughter. She lets the words sink in. This is about every guest who has been treated like she was. Eyes dart. A few employees look at the floor. Guilt crawls into their expressions. They know exactly what she's talking about. This was not the first time. It was just the first time they got caught. Naomi exhales slowly, deliberately. There will be changes. And then, she announces them. Mandatory anti-discrimination training for all staff. A zero-tolerance policy for racial profiling. Structural changes to ensure this never happens again. Each word lands like a commandment. A manager near the back shifts uncomfortably. One of the security guards steals a glance at his partner. Some look relieved. Some look terrified. And others? Others look like they just realized they might be next. Naomi steps forward. The staff instinctively straighten. "Let me be clear," she says, tone like steel. "This hotel was built on luxury, on reputation, on service. A beat. But today, I saw exactly what that service has become." She lets the words linger. The staff is holding their breath. What happened today was not a mistake, a pause. It was a system, a pattern, a problem that has been ignored for too long. A ripple of tension spreads through the employees. A few exchange glances, because she's right, and they know it. Naomi crosses her arms, her expression ice cold. That ends today. The staff is silent. No one dares speak. No one dares argue, because they can feel it. The entire foundation of this place is shifting, and Naomi Bennett is the one rewriting the rules. Sophia watches everything, watches how the hotel, in real time, transforms in front of her eyes. The staff? They aren't just hearing words. They are watching a dynasty change in real time. One that her mother, the woman standing in front of them, unshaken, unchallenged, controls. Jenna is gone, but her downfall was just the beginning. The air in the Monarch Grand feels different now. Sophia can feel it, the weight of the stairs, the hushed whispers passing between the hotel staff, the guests who glance at her, then quickly look away. Because now they know. The girl they ignored, the guest they dismissed, the woman they tried to erase. She wasn't nobody. She was Sophia Bennett. And now, they'll never forget that name. She walks through the lobby, and this time, no one ignores her. The same staff who wouldn't meet her eyes now watch her with a mix of fear and respect. They stand straighter. They move carefully, because they saw what just happened. They saw what her mother did. They saw power shift. And now they understand. Naomi Bennett turns to the security guards. They tense instantly, because they know she hasn't forgotten them. "Tell me something. When she called you," Naomi says, her voice lethal in its calmness. "Did you question it?" Neither of them speaks. They hesitate, shift uncomfortably. Because the truth is painfully simple. They didn't. They never do. They had heard one accusation, and that was enough. Naomi steps forward. That's the problem. Her voice is cold, final. Neither of them can hold her gaze, because she's right. And that truth sinks into every single person watching. They've all done it. Let it happen. Ignored it. Not just today. Countless times before. But this time, someone pushed back. This time, someone held them accountable. Naomi turns to the hotel administrator. "There will be a full internal investigation." Her tone makes it clear. This is not a suggestion. This is an order. And Naomi Bennett's orders are final. There is no room for debate. There is no room for excuses. The administrator nods quickly. "Yes, Mrs. Bennett. We'll start immediately." Naomi holds his gaze for one long moment, making sure he understands. Then finally, she exhales. Good. And just like that, the Monarch Grand will never operate the same way again. Sophia watches it all. She takes in the way the staff look at her differently now. Not with dismissal, not with condescension, but with a new kind of awareness. She doesn't need their apology. She doesn't need their validation. Because now, she doesn't need to prove she belongs. She always belonged, and now they know it. For the first time that night, she walks through the hotel with the confidence she should have had all along. Head held high, shoulders back. She is not small. She is not invisible. She is Sophia Bennett. And now, they all know her name. The elevator doors glide open, revealing the grand penthouse suite. It's lavish, breathtaking. Floor-to-ceiling windows offer a panoramic view of the city skyline, glittering against the night. Everything about it screams power, luxury, status. And yet, right now, Sophia barely notices. She steps inside, but her mind is still downstairs, still in the lobby, still hearing the whispers, still feeling the weight of everything that just happened. She turns to her mother, eyes searching. You didn't have to do all that. Naomi is silent for a moment. Then she smirks. Not unkindly, not arrogantly, just knowingly. I didn't do it just for you. Sophia blinks, confused. Naomi sets down her purse and walks toward the window, looking out over the city. Do you think you were the first? Sophia doesn't answer, because deep down, she already knows. This place, this industry, this world. Naomi sighs, shaking her head. Do you know how many times I've seen it? Heard about it? How many people it's happened to? Sophia swallows hard. She knows exactly what her mother is saying, because she's seen it too. Maybe not as blatantly as today, but in other ways. A woman being treated like she didn't belong in a boardroom. A businessman being watched too closely in a high-end store. A traveler being pulled aside for extra screening. It happens everywhere, and most of the time, no one says a thing. Naomi turns to face her daughter, arms crossed. You didn't just get ignored today, Sophia. You got erased. Her words hit like a punch, because that's exactly what it felt like. Not just being dismissed, but being made to feel like she was invisible, like she wasn't supposed to be there. Sophia exhales slowly, the weight of the night pressing down on her. It wasn't the first time, she admits quietly. Naomi nods. And if I didn't do what I did tonight, do you think it would have been the last? Sophia doesn't answer, because they both know the truth. Downstairs, the entire Monarch Grand has changed forever. Jenna Whitmore is gone. And the staff? They will never make that mistake again. Not because they had some grand moral awakening, but because they learned the hard way. Because now they know that one mistake could cost them everything. Their jobs, their reputations, everything. Sophia glances back at the city outside, the lights stretching endlessly into the distance. She lets it all sink in. This isn't just about her. It never was. This is about everyone who has ever been made to feel small. Everyone who has ever been told, in ways both subtle and loud, you don't belong here. But tonight, Sophia didn't shrink. Tonight she didn't accept it. And because of that, this place will never be the same. She turns back to her mother, a small smirk tugging at the corner of her lips. You enjoy making people sweat, don't you? Naomi raises a brow, amused. I enjoy making people think twice before they disrespect what's mine. Sophia chuckles softly, shaking her head. And for the first time that night, she lets herself exhale. The tension leaves her shoulders, because she knows she won't have to fight this battle alone. Not tonight, not ever. As the city glows beneath them, mother and daughter settle into the suite. And downstairs, the hotel buzzes with change. Policies will be rewritten, staff will be retrained, and every single person in that building knows they will never make that mistake again.